Let's now bring in energy expert Dr. Yusuf Suleiman, who's been monitoring the event closely. Doctor, we're so grateful that you joined us. We've heard from the stakeholders, we've heard from GRIDCO, we've heard from ECG. Your response?
Yeah, okay, thank you, and good afternoon to you, Charles, and your channel's viewers. Yeah, I think this particular engagement, I thought it was a step in the right direction. Why do I say that? You remember yesterday when we had the discourse, I explained that there was kind of a vacuum that has been created or seemingly created. I mean, between GRIDCO and then the stakeholders, that the stakeholders don't know what GRIDCO is up to. And so, to the extent that today this engagement, I think to some large extent, the part of GRIDCO, they've been able to explain what the issues are, and as to whether the stakeholders appreciate that, we live to see. But I think going forward, we can for sure give them the benefit of doubt, because they've asked for 3 months. So if the situation is actually the fact that, as they are alluding to, is due to, obsolete equipment, equipment that are old, then it is better to replace them now than to wait until, a phenomenal collapse of the entire system. And so I think it was a step in the right direction. And this is what I called for yesterday. Because people have to own the outcome. Stakeholders, they have to know what's going on. And so if they know what's going on and they can own the outcome, I think they'll be able to appreciate what is going on, the situation at play. So 3 months is not far away. So let's wait and see what happened. But we are hoping that, things should be okay. And I was impressed with the delivery of the GRIDCO guys. Yeah.
Great, but the import of today's forum revealed two things. The first, that the state of our dams' ability to meet capacity, and secondly, the high maintenance of GRIDCO, which has currently seen the retooling of our transmission lines. But from your perspective, what do you think is missing out in the quest to achieve power supply in a very much smooth transmission mode?
Yeah, so what I think is missing is what has been going around. That capital injection that is required, to make that system robust. Unfortunately, the same capital probably we can say is needed to build state-of-art infrastructure such as dams. I'll tell you something, Charles. If you look at places like Norway, they generate about 99 or 98% of their electricity from renewables. And interestingly, about 93 to 94% of that is coming from dams. And so we have huge potential in dams, especially in Ghana. Hydro sources. So to the extent that our Bui dam is not able to accommodate, if I may put it that way, in terms of capacity-wise. So going forward, I think we need to look into our dams. It's very critical and it's very important. That's another potential and vital area that we can chalk a lot of successes. We are already doing around 30%, 30+% from our hydro. We can do better and we can do more. And so going forward, still, we're going to say that we still need that. And I think we still need that capital that to be able to, invest into the dams, make them robust. And so that we needn't, in a way, be spilling out water. That hitherto would have upgraded. Would have been able to uplift our generating ability. Yeah, so I think it was in the right direction, sure.
Dr. Suleiman, of course, yesterday we engaged you on similar matters regarding the power sector, and you proposed that GRIDCO be privatized. What informs this suggestion?
Yeah, okay, so, ordinarily, privatization seeks to do two things. We privatize in stages. And if you look at the entire value chain, the generation side is almost already, privatized, though some portions are still fixed in terms of, let's say, the gas aggregate. We still fix the gas to the producers, which is the area I think we can still look at. We can still look at to liberalize again. If you think our supply sources are okay, the gas supply sources are okay, why don't we loosen the market to ensure that a lot of players are coming so that the gas price can come down? That will in turn go down with the generation. So generation, distribution, and transmission. I will tell you frankly that the transmission side will be a Herculean task in terms of privatizing. And I think I'll propose privatization for the transmission side, and I'll hold on to that if we don't have the required capital to rejuvenate the system. If we don't have the needed capital, now as it is portrayed, if you have the needed capital, that's why we only need managerial, to fix certain things. Now, if you don't have the needed capital, then we can look at a form of concession. Concessional agreement in the sense that a private sector can inject that capital, and private sector will not inject a capital that, into a system that is loose. They will have to have, some participative right, whatever be the, however minimal it's going to be. So I look at a model. There's not a one fixed solution to this, but I look at a model whereby if actually genuinely we don't have capital, then we can take private sector to inject capital into the transmission mix. And injecting capital into the transmission mix because they may want to have some kind of interest in it. My government is not going to give out everything. They're just going to make sure that some portions, it could be managerial. We can work at a model, But I'll hold that is going to be a Herculean task. I would rather advise or recommend that we move forward with the distribution very quickly.
All right.
I think the remnants of what we are seeing in the transmission is actually coming from distribution, because the transmission side, they are getting the revenue from amount of power that is consumed, and that can be retrieved through the distribution.
Well,
so if you want to look at it, I think we can go with the distribution. Let's try to go head on, privatize that, get it efficient. And so if we get the distribution efficient, I don't think we might need to be thinking about even privatizing the issue of the transmission side.
And of course, we do know that when it comes to the matters of the privatization with ECG, for example, with the PDS issue, currently we're having threats and even potential cases of a judgment debt. So it does beg the question of the whole value chain of privatization and possible public-private partnerships. But beyond that, Doctor, ASAP is also arguing that government should explore investment in renewables to ease the pressure on thermal plants. What's your take on this particular suggestion?
Yeah, I think I have an opportunity to call on this severally, and I think that's a call in the right direction. I think ASAP, they are spot on. See, if you look at our generating mix, we are doing poorly, for want of a better word, in the area of in the portions of renewables. Remember, 2010, we had actually promised or suggested in our energy policy that we want to, gravitate to getting to about 10% from our generation mix by 2020. Yeah. And interestingly, we came to 2020 and just realized that we couldn't even meet up to 2%. And so what, diversifying the generation mix and to encapsulate renewable, what they will do is that they in a way give you opportunity to loosen the pressure on, on the generation mix. And so if you have several sources of energy that is coming, especially from renewables, it's going to diversify the whole system. And listen, if you have so many renewables, it's going to bring a lot of competition in the system. If renewables can come to the extent that they can be in commercial basis, there's going to be competition, and cost-wise, it's going to come down. So I think going forward, that is a call in the right direction. We have to double up. And one suggestion I can give is, in most jurisdictions, if you look at most jurisdictions, in Ghana, for instance, I think we have Energy Commission championing the issue of renewables. Can we think about our national oil company, let's say GMPC, championing that or supporting that? Because our success in the renewables will come from the successes in the fossil fuel, portions of it.
Exactly. Exactly.
We have to be able to gravitate.
Not to catch you there, but it also poses, concerns of the cost element, because as you rightly stated, currently it's so much expensive to venture into renewables as to the conventional and even traditional way of energy transmission. But just before you leave, Doctor, exporting power to Mali, is this too early a conversation to start? We did hear that from GRIDCO.
Well, that's interesting. Domestically, we are still struggling to, sort ourselves out. Nevertheless, it should be a call in the right direction, especially if we have robust investment. We have massive investment into the transmission system. Already the generations we are already saying we have excess capacity. And so if you have robust transmission system, why not? I think it's not a bad call. But I think let's fix our home. Let's make sure that our internal capabilities are well catered for, then we can think about that. However, concurrently, it is not a bad idea. we can think about that. Let's also think about investing in that. But I believe that we need to fix whatever issues that we have within our internal capabilities as in transmission, then we can think about exporting.
Dr. Yusuf Suleiman, we're so grateful that he joined us. He's an energy expert helping us with his thoughts on the recent power development across the country.